Should I summarize this week by calling it the week of the cockroaches? When Jamie Dimon, JP's CEO, says that once you find a cockroach in the kitchen, it might be more than just one, hinting that there might be a credit crisis. And then, of course, a day later, Zion says that they need to disclose a $50 million charge on loan underwriting, and the market goes crazy. When everyone just forgets that Zion has $60.8 billion in loans and leases, and everyone looks at the $50 million and says, oh my God, the market should crash. And by that, the market, I mean Zion stock goes down 9%. KRE, the ETF for the regional banks, goes down. It might be that because the AAII is on 46% bearishness versus 33% dovishness or bullishness? Is it because the extreme fear is at 23? Are all these things the reasons why we feel like the market has crashed or is supposed to crash? Or maybe it's because the companies actually reported very well and we're not really listening to the facts, we're listening to our emotions. Or maybe it's because President Trump says we're at a trade war with China, but actually his House Economic Advisor says that we're not. Maybe all these things impacted the market, and maybe it's time to look at the data and not at our feelings. So hello everyone and welcome back to the channel. If you're new, my name is Micah, and on this channel we talk about stocks, we talk about investments, we talk about the market, but we do not provide financial advice, but only for education and entertainment purpose only. Let's dive into the markets themselves, and as you can see, the Nasdaq ended the week 2.4% up. The Russell ended 2.3% up, the S&P 1.7%, and the Dow Jones 1.56%. The nine most influential companies, except Amazon and Oracle, ended on the green. You can see NVIDIA, Anch for the week, but all the rest, Microsoft green, Meta green, Apple green, Tesla green, Google green, and Broadcom green as well. Why are we feeling bad? Maybe because the crypto market had a bit of a crisis this week, going down in the last 5 days by 9% if you're on the Ethereum, and Bitcoin down 7.5%. But when you look at the sectors themselves or the indices, you can see that we were green on all of them. Even financials ended the week green. And of course, real estate ended up 3.3%. That's because the 10-year went down this week under 4%. Gold hits an all-time high. Silver hits an all-time high. Crude oil down 2% for the week, and natural gas down 4.6% of the week. So why do we feel so bad? Maybe because the taco trade is there. The taco says that we are in a trade war. No, we're not in a trade war. We're going to increase the tariffs. No, we're going to move the tariffs. If we need to move the tariffs, we'll move them from November 1st. But then let's say we have 100%. And if you're confused, that's exactly the situation that most people have today. Because they're not looking at data. They're listening to all the rumble. And once you look at the data, you see that a lot of companies reported this week, 10% of the S&P 500, and 80% of them are beating their expectations. So yes, Trump increased the rhetoric around China. And yes, his Secretary of Treasury lowers down the flames. And yes, he's going to meet Xi in Korea by end of the month. And that, of course, creates that pressure. But Trump also knows that 100% tariffs that he said are not sustainable. He can't really hold them. And that's why the market read the bluff. But companies are still getting ready to take all their things out of China, whether it's Microsoft, whether it's Amazon, whether it's NVIDIA that said that that they haven't sold nothing to China. That's how it is. By the way, if you're new to the channel, it would be amazing if you can join the 10.2K subscribers that we have by subscribing to the channel, of course, turning notifications on. And the reason why you should do that is because every Wednesday, actually, we're going to take a 2 weeks hiatus from these live streams, but every Wednesday we do a live stream when we cover the markets. So retail investors stepped in and bought the dip, largest in history, which is great because currently in 2025, the retail investors are the smart money, while the institutions are the dumb money. Gold is holding up and actually all-time high 4,300. Intel introduced new data center GPU. Spotify wants their programs to be on Netflix. That's probably going to happen next year. Walmart wants to appear at OpenAI or ChatGPT's searches. So once you write something or you're searching for something, you might get a recommendation from Walmart. Apple, with a lot of news, unleashed the new MacBook Air, the new MacBook Pro, and the new iPad Pro, and a new Apple Vision Pro with the M5 chip. They also announced a 5-year media rights with Formula One, and they're selling iPhones like crazy in China. Maybe the situation in China is not as bad as everyone thinks. What I know is Meta is acquiring every talent that they can find in the AI space. And now they grabbed AI search head from Apple. Coca-Cola is planning to IPO their bottling arm. Oklo has a new strategic initiative with New Celio and Blikala. They joined force on a $2 billion US nuclear fuel revolution. Walmart is deploying millions of new sensors. Finally, Internet of Things is finding itself into Walmart. Zuckerberg and Meta announced that they plan to invest $1.5 billion in building a new data center in Texas. Finally, Taiwan Semi and NVIDIA unveiled the first Blackwell chip that was designed or manufactured in the US, part of the decoupling from China. Cloudflare partnered with Visa. Oracle is going to deploy 50,000 of AMD AI chips. ASML said that they're well prepared for the Chinese rare earth curbs. Waymo is going to launch. Waymo, which is Google's arm for autonomous driving, is going to launch a robotaxi in London next year. The military unveiled a new program to significantly push into nuclear power, small modular reactions in bases. CRM, Salesforce, wants to go back to growth mode, and they're planning or targeting 10% revenue growth till full year 2030. And they're also teaming up with Google, partnership to integrate Gemini AI into Agentic 360. Snowflake and Palantir announced a major AI and data integration partnership, and DoorDash and Google Waymo also are joining forces. And last but not least, short sellers. Yes, they blame the retail investors for buying the dip and not letting them make money. And yes, short sellers should not make money. They should lose money as much as possible. Let's talk about next week. We're beginning to see a rapid increase in the number of companies that are reporting, from Coca-Cola Tuesday to GE Aerospace, 3M, Raytheon, and GM, of course. After the close, we get Netflix, Intuitive Surgical, Texas Instrument. Then we get on Wednesday, GE Vernova, Vertiv, Boston Scientific. Then at the end, after the close, we get Tesla, IBM, Kinder Morgan. Sorry, I went too fast. American Express is reporting on Thursday, and others as well. Intel, Newmont, after the bell, Ford as well. So we're getting 3 car companies this week: GM, Tesla, and Ford. And on Friday, we get Procter & Gamble and others. This brings us, of course, to the S&P 500, represented by Japanese candlesticks. As you can see that, we had this trend line that we didn't want to break. We broke it on Friday, but we bounced on the support we talked about on our previous video. Now we're back above the trend. So basically, we had a flash crash and we're back on trend. This means that we need to keep this trend line and we need to stay above it. Otherwise, we're going to check support around 65.51 again. And if we drop down under that, we're going to end up at 63.60. So yes, we felt like a bad week, but at the end of the day, we're 1.4% from all-time highs. So why are we feeling so bearish? No reason at all. But that's a good thing, because if everyone's bearish, once they become bullish, they're going to push a lot of money into the market, which means that we might see a new all-time high, maybe even next week or the week after. We're going to follow everything. We're going to meet again next week. We're not going to have a live stream on Wednesday because I'm traveling, but we are going to talk about the market next week. So till next time, I'm Micah Stock saying thank you very much for watching. Bye-bye.